The Holy Bible tells us about God, people and relations among them. However, the biblical story is not only some gathered texts, but it is represented as a holistic history of the world, based on a strict chronology. The biblical history and chronology tell us what has been in the past, and what will have been in the future. Unfortunately, existing interpretations of biblical history, especially interpretations of the chronology of the future apocalyptic events, contradict the letter and spirit of the Bible. Therefore, we are going to present our own interpretation of the biblical chronology. The biblical history of the world is strictly linear. It has the beginning and the end. The world's history begins with the fall of man, and finishes with the second coming of Jesus Christ. Between the beginning and the end of history, there is a sequence of 8 historic periods. Each of them has its own essence, role and place on the biblical timeline. The first period is the Cain's civilization. Cain is the first man who worshipped Satan and sacrificed his brother Abel. Cain also founded the first urbane civilization, where cities became satanic religious centers. The second period appeared when the Cain's civilization degraded and fallen angels got married to women, who then begot Nephilim. So, this period is called the civilization of fallen angels or civilization of Nephilim. Sometimes it is called antediluvian, because the flood demolished this civilization. According to the Book of Enoch, the fallen angels taught people paganism, magic, esoteric knowledge and technologies. So most modern occult and esoteric doctrines date their roots to this civilization. The third period is called the civilization of Babylon Tower. After the flood, people tried to establish secular, non-religious and materialistic civilization, but God scattered them. Then the God chose his people and made the covenants with Abraham, Moses, and Christians. So we called this fourth period as the Epoch of Covenants. According to the Bible, the history of the world resembles a scroll. One end of the history rolls up, and the other rolls out. The future periods mirror the ancient ones. The central period of the biblical history is the epoch of 3 covenants from Abraham to Jesus. Therefore, the fifth period of the Bible history is an analogue of the civilization of Babylon Tower. This period is clearly described in the Apocalypse of John, and it is called the Whore of Babylon or Babylon the Great. Jesus, by his death and resurrection, mortally injured devil. However, people healed devil, and therefore, the world history has been reversing. The first result of this historical reversing is Babylon the Great, the global non-religious, secular civilization, which is based on money and material consumption. Then John prophesies that 10 kings, who are the part of the Whore of Babylon, once will hate the Whore of Babylon and desolate her. These 10 kingdoms will take a power for a short time and then will give their power and strength unto the beast. This short period of biblical history is not specially called in the Bible, but the adepts of esoteric and occultism call it the Age of Aquarius. The Age of Aquarius is the analogue of the civilization of fallen angels. After the demolition of the global non-religious and materialistic whore, humankind will come back to religions, spirituality, esoteric and occultism, as it had been during the civilization of Nephilim. Unfortunately, this religious reviving mostly will not be a true Christian recovery, but satanic and heretic flourish. The age of Aquarius will be the preparation for the coming of Beast 666. Then, after a short time, according to Revelation, 10 states will give their power and strength unto the beast, and over the world, the global state of Antichrist and beast will rise up. It will be the time of triumph of devil and severe persecution of true Christians. This period resembles the Cain's civilization, clear religious and satanic. This seventh historical period will not be very long. After the end of the global state of beast, the first resurrection and the millennial kingdom begin. This is the eighth and the last period of biblical history. In the end of the millennial kingdom, the last battle, the second coming of Jesus Christ and the last judgment will occur. There is a very interesting and important for Christian question. Where we are on this timeline of biblical chronology today. According to our opinion, today the humankind is on the border between the civilization of Babylon the Great and the age of Aquarius. The contemporary crisis is the beginning of demolition of Babylon the Great. Now we still have been living in the civilization of Babylon whore. Why? According to the Revelation, this civilization must have two basic characteristics. It must be the first global civilization from the times of the Babylon Tower. And it must be non-religious, materialistic and consumer. Contemporary civilization is the first global and it is fully based on secularity, money and material consumption. This is fully in accord with the main features of the Whore of Babylon in the Revelation. The core of this Babylon is in the USA. However, during last 2 decades, the modern Babylon has been plunging into massive crisis. Some states, such as China, Western Europe, Russia, Iran, proclaim their dissatisfaction with the global Babylon. They manifest alternative, non-materialistic and spiritual ideologies. In addition, they started to struggle with the global system and its core in the USA. Soon, they will destroy Babylon the Great. They will use short time their power shorted the world. It will be the age of Aquarius, and eventually, they will give their power and strength unto the beast. Therefore, we are now close to the last times. But contemporary crisis is still not the beginning of the state of Beast 666. Besides the chronology as a sequence of epochs and events, the Bible contains a chronology as a precise dating of the key events. The Bible uses 3 chronological systems. The first era is the era of patriarchs and kings. The Bible tells us how many years each patriarch lived and each king ruled, and in what age patriarchs begot their sons. These date to enable us to calculate dates from the creation of the world till the Babylon captivity. Unfortunately, different variants and translations of Torah contain discrepancies in the era of patriarchs and kings. For example, according to the Greek translated Torah in Septuagint, the flood was in 2262 year after creation of the world. But according to the Jewish Masoretic text, The flood was in 1656 after creation of the world. The discrepancy is 606 years. Abraham was born in 3334 year after creation according to Septuagint, and in 1948 year according to the Masoretic text, so the discrepancy is 1386 years. The second era is based on a basic time point from the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem after the Babylon captivity. These events were in the 5th century before Christian era. It is used only once when Daniel prophesies about the time of coming and death of Messiah. This is the famous 70 weeks prophecy. This prophecy doesn't have discrepancies, but there are some difficulties with the interpretation of these 70 weeks prophecy and precise dating the commandment to restore Jerusalem. The third era is based on two basic time points: foundation of the Christian Church and destruction of the Second Temple. John and Daniel use this era for dating of the last times. Fortunately, these prophecies are clear and don't have any discrepancies. According to our interpretation of these prophecies, the global kingdom of the beast 666 begins in 1260 years after the foundation of the Christian Church, or about 1290 of Christian era. The end of this satanic state will be in 1290 years after the destruction of the Second Temple, or about 1360 of Christian era. The millennial kingdom may start in 1405 of Christian era. The date of the second coming, which must be after the end of the millennial kingdom, nobody knows, but the Father. One could ask us, today is the beginning of the third millennium. We still have seen neither the kingdom of the beast nor the total persecution of the Christianity nor the final demolition of Babylon the Great. Then our reconstruction of the biblical chronology is wrong, isn't it? However, there is another version. Our reconstruction of the biblical chronology is right, but the official chronology is wrong. It is incredibly difficult to believe that today could not be 2020 of Christian era. There are considerable arguments and evidences which suggest that our official chronology and computing of time is wrong, forged and artificially prolonged. Therefore, today may not be 2020th year from the birth of Jesus Christ, but much less. There are some alternative chronologies and chronological theories, which are shorter than official one. We are now developing our own chronology of the era after Christ, and we are going to present it for you. You can get acquainted with our interpretations of the biblical chronology in detail on our website. See in the description of this video.